I'm Angela Novak, 31 years old, the youngest daughter in a family that learned early how to pretend I didn't matter. I grew up working twice as hard for half the approval, watching my older brother Derek glide through life on polished shoes and borrowed confidence while I built my career quietly, far from their dinners and expectations. In rooms like this, surrounded by champagne and tailored smiles, I've always felt like an intruder, too sharp for their comfort, too invisible to be taken seriously. I came to my brother's engagement party expecting the usual whispers, the polite insults dressed as jokes. What I didn't expect was for one sentence, spoken out loud in front of everyone, to detonate my past, my family, and a deal worth $67 million. That was the moment I realized this night wasn't about celebration. It was about who was about to fall. The chandelier above me hummed with light. Every face in the room turned toward the entrance when I walked in. That exact second, Sutton Blackwood tilted her head toward her bridesmaid, lifted a flute of champagne, and said it loud enough to shatter glass. "Oh look, country trash made it to Boston." Soft gasps. Nervous laughter. One sharp giggle that echoed like a slap. I kept walking. My boots were Valentino. But to them, I was still the girl who once worked at a diner off Route 1 and smelled like motor oil and cigarettes. What they didn't know could bankrupt them. A waiter offered champagne. I took water. "You clean up nice," he said under his breath. "Don't get used to it," I muttered. The ballroom pulsed with money. High ceilings. Polished marble. Gold accents that screamed taste but whispered power. The Blackwoods had taste. But power? Power was ownership. And ownership belonged to me. I saw Derek across the room. Navy suit, white smile, arms around Sutton like he actually believed he was her prize. He didn't see me. No one did. Until the man who did see everything stepped forward. "Angela Novak," Elias Chan said with a voice that didn't need a mic. He raised his glass like a judge handing down a verdict. "Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce the woman who just bought my company for $67 million. Silence. It snapped like ice underfoot. Sutton dropped her glass. Derek's jaw clenched. Our mother turned white, then red, then back to white. I smiled. Small. Deadly. "You bought." Derek started, but his voice caught like a car in mud. "I bought." My tone was dry. Controlled. Outright. "Fully leveraged acquisition. Finalized yesterday." I didn't blink. I watched Elias. He didn't flinch. Derek did. And Sutton looked at me like I'd just pulled a knife from under the table. A woman near the back whispered, "Why would she buy his company?" "Exactly." A server brushed past, muttering an apology. Someone spilled wine near the stage. I turned away from the crowd just in time for my phone to buzz. Blocked number. One line. "You're being played, sweetheart. And your name's on the contract." I didn't move. My pulse kicked once. Hard. Outside the ballroom, a door opened and closed. I looked around. Security cameras blinked in the corners. Nothing was accidental. I tucked the phone back in my clutch and took a step toward the open bar. Elias was watching me. So, was someone else. I could feel it. "The moment you stop being invisible," I whispered to myself, "you become a target." And I was wide open. All of it, too perfect. A voice behind me said, "They don't know, do they?" I turned. Nora Quinn. She looked thinner than I remembered. Eyes sharp, voice low. "Know what?" I asked. "That this party," she whispered, "isn't yours. It's the setup." A crash. Lights flickered. My brother stepped down from the stage. I stepped back. I didn't just buy his company. Someone used me to burn it down. My heels hit the hallway with sharp, even clicks. The sound echoed louder than it should have in a place built to muffle secrets. I ducked into the private lounge. Locked the door. Lights low. No windows. Phone out. VPN up. Files. Contracts. Timestamps. The acquisition documents were real. Legally binding. Transferred through Graceland Equity under my name. Finalized the day before the party. My name. My digital signature. My liability. Who gave them permission? A month ago, a quiet man in a dark suit had approached me through a referral. Clean pitch. Off-market deal. Quick, discreet. He said, opportunities don't wait for people who need certainty. I should have known then. Nothing clean ever walks in smiling. The screen blinked. Bank confirmation, $67 million transferred via 3 proxy LLCs into Chan Holdings, structured buyout. All roads led to me. Don't trust the map just because you drew it, my old professor once said. I didn't know what that meant until now. 3 knocks at the door. Too soft to be security. Too timed to be coincidence. I opened it an inch.
Derek.
You knew, he hissed, shoving the door open. You let me walk in there like an idiot. I was just as surprised. He laughed once. It had no humor. You always wanted to be the smartest in the room. Congratulations. That's not what this is. What is it then?
His face twisted.
Revenge? You waited your whole life to humiliate me. I didn't answer. Because no answer would matter to a man who'd already decided I was guilty. Enjoy your money, he spat. Because you've lost your family. The door slammed. I stood still. Shoulders tense. Chest hollow. Then buzz. Unknown sender. Attachment. PDF file. Executive amendment. Signed 7 days prior. Clause 19. Operational authority deferred to Angela Novak as acting director until full integration. Signatory. Sutton Blackwood. I read it twice. 3 times. The bride gave me power of attorney.
Why? My phone rang.
Blocked number. I answered. A man's voice.
Come.
British, maybe. Unfamiliar. You should check the metadata on that file.
Click.
Line dead. I opened the document on my laptop. Metadata showed it was drafted 3 months ago. Signed 2 weeks before Sutton and Derek's engagement was announced. She'd planned this before the ring. I closed the screen. My hands weren't shaking, but only because I hadn't processed it yet. The lights in the lounge flickered once. Just enough to be noticed. Just enough to remind me, nothing here was safe. I bolted the door. Took out the flash drive I'd brought for emergencies. Plugged it into the terminal. Downloaded every contract related to Chan Holdings. File after file populated the drive. Then I saw it. Project Orion. Phase I. Encrypted. Password protected. I typed Blackwood. Denied. Graceland. Denied. I didn't try again. Not here. Not when I felt eyes pressing against the walls. I pocketed the drive. Walked out fast, head down. Past the bar. Past the stairs. Into the back hallway. Another buzz. This time a voicemail. I played it. No voice. Just static. Then a click. A door opening. A woman whispering. We can move on her after the announcement. Make it clean. My spine locked. I recognized the voice. It was Sutton. Everything she touched was a setup. The acquisition. The engagement.
Me.
I reached the exit. Opened the door. Cool night air hit like a slap. Footsteps behind me.
Fast.
Heavy. I turned. Nothing. Just wind. But I knew better. They don't hide when they want to scare you. My father used to say. They hide when they're already inside. My phone lit up again. New message. If Sutton signed this, then I wasn't the one holding the knife. I was the blade. I knew the second I took her keycard, it would cost me something. Sutton had handed her clutch to a valet during a staged photo op. I watched from across the room. 10 seconds. 1 slip of a card.
Easy.
The trick wasn't getting in. It was getting out. I waited till the crowd pulsed toward the bar.
Cut left.
Up the stairs. Quiet steps. Her suite was on the top floor. Presidential level. Private elevator. No cameras inside the hallway. A detail that screamed premeditation. The keycard beeped green. I stepped in. Dim lighting. Soft perfume. Curtains drawn tight. A bottle of unopened champagne in a silver cradle. Condensation weeping down the sides. This wasn't a love nest. It was a stage. On the desk, a folder marked in embossed black. Project Orion, Q4 acquisition. Inside, spreadsheets. Employee hierarchies. Asset transfers. HR restructuring. Termination lists. Derek's name circled in red ink. He wasn't just excluded. He was a placeholder. An exit strategy. She never planned to marry him. She planned to gut the company while wearing a ring he bought with a bonus she orchestrated. My hands moved faster now. Beneath the folder, photos. Surveillance shots. Me at a cafe 3 weeks ago. Me stepping into the private offices of Graceland Equity.
Close range. Zoomed. Tracked.
Someone had been following me longer than I realized. There was a burner phone in the drawer. One SIM card inside. Messages already open. We go tonight. She'll sign anything if it's buried in compliments. After the announcement, cut comms. One voicemail, not yet played. I tapped it. Sutton's voice, sharp and bored. She's not the threat.
Her mouth is.
Just keep her busy until I'm on the board. I dropped the phone. The suite was too quiet. The kind of quiet that hums. I turned toward the closet. Empty. But the air wasn't. Someone had been here recently. I pulled out my own phone, snapped photos of everything. Files. Messages. The voicemail transcription. Digital breadcrumbs. I wasn't getting out with the folder, but I could leave with fire. Back to the door. Listen. Hallway silent. I slipped out. Halfway down the corridor, a shadow moved at the far end.
Too tall to be hotel staff. Too still.
Then one step forward. My breath froze. Elevator. I lunged for it, slammed the button. The doors opened just as I heard a voice behind me. Going somewhere, Angela? Roman Pierce. Derek's old legal counsel. No suit now. Just dark jeans and a gray coat. Civilian mode. I stepped into the elevator. You're following me? I'm trying to keep you alive. Try harder. He held the door before it shut. You're being watched. You think this is about Sutton? She's not the brain. She's the bait. I'm not here for games.
He leaned in.
Whispered. Project Orion wasn't her idea. It was yours. On paper. The elevator dropped. Lights flickered. A shudder. We stopped between floors. I backed into the corner. Roman didn't move. He pulled something from his pocket. A thumb drive. Tossed it to me. Encrypted copies. You'll want to open them somewhere you trust. I caught it. You always carry evidence? I never delete anything. You think this clears you? I think you need to ask yourself one thing, he said. What? If you didn't start the fire, why are you the only one who brought gasoline? The elevator lurched. Slammed to a stop. Doors opened to a basement hallway.
Dark. Cold.
Not where we were supposed to be. Roman stepped out first. I followed. It smelled like mildew and secrets. A soft beep.
His phone.
One message. She's moving early. We're exposed. Burn it. He looked up. Eyes different now. Calculating. Who sent that? I asked. But I already knew. I sprinted back toward the stairs. 2 steps in, the lights snapped off. Behind me, a door slammed shut. They didn't expect me to fight back. The basement reeked of damp concrete and failed promises. I took 3 steps forward. Roman didn't follow. His phone still lit up with that message, burn it. His eyes didn't blink. I said, who sent it? He looked up, voice flat. You shouldn't be here. A click echoed behind me. My spine snapped straight. I turned. A red light blinked over a camera tucked into the corner. The hallway had eyes. Angela, Roman said softly. I think you need to run. I didn't wait. Boots slapped tile. My hand brushed the wall, concrete, cold, curved. Like a tunnel. The light flickered once. Then again. Full blackout. I moved faster. Someone was up ahead. A silhouette.
Male.
Wide frame. Stationary. I turned hard left, metal door.
Locked.
Heartbeat in my throat. I spun around. The silhouette was gone.
Breath caught in my chest.
I couldn't hear mine over the blood rushing past my ears. Footsteps now. Behind me, 2 pairs. My fingers grazed a utility box on the wall. Opened it. Exposed wires. A memory surfaced. My first job in a rundown boutique hotel, where the breaker was the only defense against drunk guests. I yanked hard.
Sparks.
The emergency lights kicked on. I turned the corner and collided with something solid. Not a wall.
A man.
A suited. Not security. Elias. I breathed. He caught my arm, held it with a grip too firm to be friendly. Let go. He didn't. You have something of mine, he said. You sold me your company. I sold you a facade. I ripped my arm away. You think I'm scared of your money?
I spat.
No, he said. You're scared of what you haven't figured out yet. His phone buzzed. He looked at it and frowned. She's not supposed to be here, he muttered.
Who?
He didn't answer. He turned, walking away into the dark. I stood frozen. The air felt thicker, like breathing through static. Something about that exchange didn't feel right. Back stairwell. I moved. Fast. Every step up, I replayed Roman's voice. She's the bait. Was Sutton even running the con? Or was I chasing the wrong villain? I made it to the second floor. Burst through the emergency exit into a service hallway. Blinding fluorescent light. Voices ahead. Laughter. I pressed against the wall, hiding behind a cart of linen. A maid passed.
Didn't see me.
I exhaled slowly. My chest hurt. I'd been holding my breath too long. Slipped back into the staff staircase.
Up.
Third floor.
Fourth. Her suite.
One last time. The key card still worked. I shut the door behind me, double-locked it, turned on the desk lamp, pulled out the flash drive from Roman, plugged it into Sutton's laptop. Prompt. Decryption required. Password. I froze. Tried Orion. Access denied. Tried Angela. Denied. Then I remembered something Sutton had said in college, when we met once, briefly. You can tell a lot about a woman by what she names her dog. I named mine Liberty. She bit everyone. I typed it in. Access granted. The screen exploded with folders. Bank transfers. Board memos. Embedded audio files. All traced back to one shell company, Solentis Holdings. Parent company of Graceland Equity. The company that funded my acquisition of Elias's firm. Except it wasn't Sutton's name on the papers. It wasn't Elias either. It was mine. Registered 5 months ago. Using an address in Millbridge, Maine. My childhood home. What the hell?
Click.
One more file. Photo Archive Origin 04. I opened it. The first image loaded. A woman shaking hands with a man in a dark coat.
Smiling.
Zoomed in on her face. My mother. She stood outside a law office in Portland, holding a briefcase. Behind her, barely visible in reflection, Sutton. I stared. My voice cracked as I whispered, "Why the hell is she involved?" Behind me, the floor creaked. I turned. Roman stood in the doorway. His face was unreadable. You weren't supposed to find that. This isn't about business anymore. It's about survival. I didn't run. I locked eyes with Roman and said, "Step aside." He didn't move. The silence between us stretched until it snapped. You were part of this from the start, I said. You knew about Sutton, about my name being used, about the fake LLCs. I wasn't the architect, he said. I was the insurance policy. That's supposed to make it better?
No.
It just makes it survivable. I stepped forward. He didn't stop me. Because he couldn't. Not anymore. 15 minutes later, we were inside a forgotten office on the waterfront, a space buried in the old Charlestown Navy Yard.
No logos. No directories.
Just a code pad and a steel door with no window. Roman punched in 7 digits. The door clicked. Inside, dust, stale air, and a heavy scent of mildew. A single overhead light flickered on, revealing a room full of locked file cabinets and one outdated workstation.
No cameras. No connections.
This was Sutton's fallback, Roman said. It's where she kept the insurance. The kind you can't store on the cloud. I walked straight to the desk.
The old PC hummed to life. He handed me a key. One cabinet. Drawer marked in faded Sharpa. Black files. Inside, printed bank statements, voice memos on mini-cassettes, a burner phone still powered on, and one leather-bound ledger. I flipped it open. Graceland Equity. Dates. Deposits. Transfers. Some were recent. Others went back over a year. Twice, the same signature appeared under authorization, Angela Novak. Except I hadn't signed a damn thing. This is forgery, I said. No, Roman said. It's identity theft. You didn't just sign them. You incorporated a Delaware trust that managed the entire transfer funnel. That's illegal. That's powerful. I slammed the book shut. This ends tonight. He didn't argue. You want to expose Sutton? Roman said. Then hit her where it hurts. Not in court. In public. On record. In front of the people she fooled. He pulled a flash drive from his coat. Everything I've kept, he said. Emails, calls, audio. And the final clause she added to the acquisition papers. The one that lets you pull the plug publicly if you can prove fraud. I took it. Why now? I asked. His eyes were darker than they had been in the elevator. Because I thought I could control her, he said. But Sutton doesn't stop. She consumes. He looked tired. Older. I warned her once, he added. You don't set a fire and expect it not to burn the floor beneath you. We left in silence. Outside, the wind screamed through the alley. My coat flapped against my body like it was trying to run without me. Roman walked me halfway to the parking lot, then stopped. You still have time to walk away, he said. I don't run from wreckage, I said. I walk into it and take inventory. He smiled, thin and broken. Then good luck. Back at the hotel, the ballroom was being reset. A PR event was scheduled for dawn, the final announcement of the merger Sutton had engineered. I slipped into the back hallway and up to the AV control room. The tech team had left. Good. I plugged in Roman's flash drive. The screen flickered.
An audio clip loaded.
Sutton's voice. She thinks she's owning a company. What she's buying is a coffin. By the time she knows what she signed, I'll be on the board and she'll be in court. Another clip. My mother's voice. She was always so desperate to be loved. It made her easy. The air left my lungs. I hit play on a third file. It was a video. Sutton and Elias. At a dinner.
Candlelight.
No audience. Elias. If she figures it out? Sutton. Then we bury her in the headlines. I copied the full folder to a secure drive. Labeled it Orion, final. There would be no backdoor. This was the moment. The ballroom echoed with muted music and last-minute rehearsals. I stepped onto the floor.
Spotlight on.
Elias turned. Sutton stood beside him, smiling too wide. Derek lingered behind them, a glass of champagne in his hand, unsure of which side he was even standing on anymore. I lifted the mic. Good evening, I said. Let's begin with the truth. Tell the world what she did. Or I will live. The spotlight scorched my face. It was blinding, suffocating. But I didn't blink. The ballroom was silent. Dozens of eyes stared, waiting for me to crash, to melt under pressure, to prove I was still the girl who didn't belong here. I exhaled, and I played the video. The screen behind me flickered to life. Sutton's voice filled the room.
Clear. Calm.
Full. She thinks she's owning a company. What she's buying is a coffin. Then Elias. Sharp.
Certain.
If she figures it out? Her answer sliced through the silence. Then we bury her in the headlines. A gasp somewhere on the left. Glass shattered near the bar. Derek stepped back. Sutton's lips parted. No sound came out. I raised the mic again. You wanted to know who signed the acquisition? I said. It wasn't me. Not willingly. Sutton Blackwood orchestrated the fraud. Roman Pierce executed the legal cover. And my own mother provided the leverage. Every name I dropped hit like a gavel. Elias stepped forward. Angela. You sat at that table, I said.
You took the money. You played both sides. But here's the part you missed. Ownership isn't just about control. It's about consequences. He froze. I clicked to the next slide. A legal document. Signed that morning. A formal complaint to the SEC and FBI. Backed by Roman's flash drive. Tied to a live filing already delivered. A new voice took over the audio system. This is Agent Nolan with the Securities and Exchange Commission. We are officially launching an investigation into Solentis Holdings, Graceland Equity, and all affiliated parties. Two men in suits entered the ballroom from the side doors. Federal agents. Roman didn't run. He just lowered his head. Sutton did try. She made it 3 steps before 2 agents blocked her path. She turned, lips curled, eyes wild. "You think this fixes you?" she hissed at me. "No," I said. "I was never broken." She lunged. Derek stopped her. For once, he looked at me, not with pity or pride, but with something closer to respect. Or maybe regret. "You always wanted to prove us wrong," he said.
No, irraplia.
I just stopped needing to. Outside, the wind ripped across the plaza like a warning. I stood at the edge of the stone steps, coat flapping, phone buzzing nonstop. Reporters waited. Questions shouted. I didn't stop. Roman was escorted out, handcuffed.
Silent.
Sutton followed, eyes dead. Elias didn't leave in cuffs, but he left ruined, and he knew it. The crowd parted as I walked past. Each step was deliberate, heavy, but not burdened. Liberated. I didn't go home. I drove. North. All the way to Millbridge. My childhood house still stood, chipped paint, rusted mailbox, shutters hanging by one hinge. I parked across the street. Didn't get out. I just sat there, watching it like it might blink back. Then I opened my laptop. Final file. One last audio clip. A voicemail I'd never heard. My mother's voice. "She doesn't know I'm doing this. If you want her trust, you have to let her believe she's in control. Angela only listens when you let her think it was her idea." The message ended. I didn't flinch. There are people in life who will only love you when they can shape you. And when you shape yourself, they call it rebellion. I call it clarity. I left Millbridge without knocking. Back in Boston, the hotel was quiet, empty. I walked the halls like I owned them. Because I did. There was a press conference waiting. Investors watching. A storm still moving. But for now, I was just a woman alone in her silence. And silence finally was peace. They wanted to bury me, but I bought the ground they stood on.